Welcome back to Afternoon Live. While there's a lot of conflicting advice in personal finance, our next guest says this is the only money map you'll ever need to plan for your financial goals. Here to share more, we welcome finance columnist and author of Money Proud, Nick Wolny. Nick, congratulations on the book. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I've had so much fun diving into it. You have such great practical advice that a lot of people can actually follow, but with your own personal voice and stamp on things. Why did you decide to put this together?
Well, one thing that we see in personal finance a lot is there's conflicting advice about different things. Maybe you should put your money here, or maybe you should put your money there. But a lot of my take on that is that many people don't have a lot of extra money left over at the end of the month to begin with, right? So much of personal finance really depends on you having that surplus at the end of the month. But with the rising cost of living and for many people, health insurance in 2026 is very top of mind. We need to adjust those strategies and really whittle things down as much as we can. So in this book, Money Proud, I teach what I call a 7-word plan: lower expenses, increase earnings, invest the difference. I don't think that a lot of it is rocket science. I think it's about just being consistent and focused about those 2 or 3 actions that are going to end up helping you have more money in your budget at the end of the month so that you can actually start to put some of this advice into action.
Well, and I love that you take such a balanced and realistic approach, because I think if people budget so strictly and they leave no room for fun in their lives, that can be so stressful, right? So you say still find ways to enjoy yourself, but do pay attention to your money and where it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's because a lot of this book really focuses on the LGBTQ community. It's the queer guide to generating wealth, but really thinking about that, really thinking about our lives and treating budget culture almost, similar to diet culture. If you're going to be really, really restrictive about everything, it becomes really easy to fall off the wagon, and then you end up just, rebounding, all of that. And so looking for ways to enjoy yourself and to be able to be consistent. I also wanted to write a book that explores the connection between money and mental health, money and behavior, because for many of us, our behaviors aren't necessarily what show up in the spreadsheet or in our budgeting app, but they're actually responsible for a lot of how we use our money and also how we think and feel about money from day to day. And so really connecting that in a way so that you feel like you're using your money for things that you actually enjoy in your life and that you're enjoying the present while also feeling confident that you're saving for a rainy day and that you're saving for the futures, that you'll be able to take care of your future self.
Yeah, and thinking about immediate impact of something like increase income. I mean, simple phrase, not so simple to pull off, but you talk about people in their current job, maybe landing a new job or picking up some extra income. Can you kind of walk us through those streams and how we can improve our position?
Yeah, 3 different strategies for increasing income. So thinking about your current job, is there an opportunity to make more money or perhaps other forms of compensation? Potentially getting off at noon on Fridays, that's going to end up being, more time per hour, more dollars per hour, so that you actually are making more per hour. Looking for things like that that perhaps aren't necessarily monetary, but can be compensation in other ways, and sussing out whether that's going to be a possibility at your current workplace. Second strategy is potentially looking for a new job. And what I like to say in the book is that the job getting skills are often very different from the actual skills of the job. Those job getting skills are things like refreshing your resume, being able to be confident in an interview setting, and if you get that offer, negotiating so that you can potentially bring in more income from day one. And then the third strategy that's becoming increasingly popular is creating your own opportunities. So maybe that's a side hustle, maybe that's a gig. We see a lot of buzz and interest in the creator economy, things like that. If you can dream it, maybe someone will pay you for it. And so having a sense of what those 3 different strategies are, that you have 3 different options, they all work. They all will probably take some trial and error before you find that lane where you can really make some progress. But if you put one or all of those strategies into action this year, then you're really positioning yourself for the best possible chance of increasing your income and bringing home more money.
Well, and I love the way you frame the perspective on remote work, right? So many people are interested in that, and maybe it gives you more time on paper, but what's the cost at work? Because a lot of people are finding they're less likely to get that next promotion because they're less visible to maybe their peers and the next level above them in their workplace.
Yeah, throughout this book, we've got a lot of different call outs. We've got 18 call outs in all. of just various different aspects of money and work and things like that. So one of the call outs is really going through the pros and cons of remote work. Research has found that remote employees are happier, but they're also less likely to be promoted. And so if you want to pursue that income generating opportunity, and if you work remotely, you're going to really need to be diligent and intentional about showing up in those Slack channels or Microsoft Teams or whatever it is and making your presence known in some other way. There are people who are adamantly remote work only. They love having that flexibility. They love being able to roll out of bed 15 minutes before the job starts and being very comfortable and being at home. And then you have people who absolutely don't want to do remote work. And I know that that's the less popular option. But for some people, they really thrive on being in a group environment, being in a team environment. I think for families in particular during the COVID-19 quarantines, it became not as fun to be working remotely while your 4 and 5-year-olds were running around at home.
Sounds familiar, Nick.
Yeah,
Mom likes to come to work
I mean,
sometimes.
I was referencing that a little bit, but so just kind of deciding what works best for you. And if making more money in 2026 is your goal and you're remote and you want to continue to be so, then really focus on how you can go above and beyond from a visibility perspective so that you're top of mind when those opportunities come along.
It's so true, and it's so helpful just to kind of lay out the pros and cons like that, and it's a different answer for everybody. So just having the information is so helpful. Thank you so much for stopping by. It was so great chatting with you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, Nick's book again is Money Proud. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.